My next Ashy. You're nervous, aren't you?
There's only one. There's only one. It's only one Jess. Only one Jess. Love and happiness. Beauty.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Jess and Jonathan.
It's just us.
It's just us, really.
Wait, we're still workshopping names. I think we just floated the Jess and John pod.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Jess really likes it or she doesn't want to hurt my feelings.
No, Jess and John is fine. It's just my dad's name is John, so it's just like
But you have to say pod afterwards.
Jess and John pod. Sorry. We're still workshopping names,
we're
like you said.
workshopping everything.
Yeah.
I know you guys see the new mics.
We got some new material.
Mics. We have stands. We're learning how to use all this stuff.
Yeah. More Jonathan than me. I'm just showing up.
It might sound trash when we it's all said and done, but we'll see.
I think we're gonna be fine. Yeah. Actually, I want to tell you something because I know you're not on Instagram right now.
Please.
Wait, did you see my picture that I posted yesterday?
I did not.
Okay, so I'm gonna show it to you really quick because that's one of the reasons why I went to the gym this morning, because I posted a picture on Instagram yesterday and my waist was looking so snatched, but I was wearing shapewear, but everyone was giving me so much compliments that I had to look.
Oh yeah.
I know it's not real, and I'm like, oh no.
Nah, you're in your bag with this picture though.
I know you took those.
I'm in my bag with these pictures though.
But everyone's like, all the comments are like, what waist? Snatch. And I'm like, God, I'm like in my bed with my belly out. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, it's not real. So I definitely went to the gym this morning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Russian twist.
Honey, the
I'm
waist
like,
is snatched, okay?
Everyone.
Gorgeous body.
Oh gosh. I'm like, it's not
Body.
real. But I saved myself on my stories. I put the link to the shapewear I was using. So no one sees me in my next picture. And they're like, wait a minute. What happened? I'm doing my best, child. I'm doing my best. What we are going to talk about today is, so recently I posted a reel. Did you see the reel? Jonathan's not on Instagram right now, which sometimes it hurts my feelings because that's like where my creativity is. So he doesn't see the stuff that I do. And I'm like, did you see that I blah, blah, blah? And it's like he doesn't see my work. But anyways, so I posted the reel of like 5 things I learned as a wife. Or whatever.
I saw like a little bit of it, but it wasn't from Instagram. I think it was you just showing it to me.
Oh yeah, but you didn't see when I put like the text over it. But whatever. One of the things I put there is that submission isn't slavery. So I really want to talk more about submission on today, because I know a lot of women, they hear the word submission and they close up. They're like, absolutely not, like that, not around here, because I really feel like a lot of people equate submission to slave. Is that equate?
Yeah.
They put submission and slavery in the same like box, and like that's not what it is. So I think it would be really cool for us. We've only been married for a year. For anyone who's new here, we're still new out here, but submission is something that we practice. Because it goes both ways, which we'll talk about. So I think it'd be something cool to share our experiences with, and wherever else it takes us.
Yeah, lead us off. I mean,
Yeah.
I think any topic of submission, in the way many like churches or people preach it, was in a very patriarchal way. Meaning like I don't know if like that's too big of a word. I get in trouble for using big words all the time. But like favoring men and like used to put down women for, I don't know, thousands of years. Mm-hmm. So I think any conversation about it should be led off by you.
A woman.
A woman.
A woman.
So I am a wife and I do submit to my husband. For me, when women are afraid of the word submission and like, oh, I'm not doing that to my husband or for my husband or whatever.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
We're using the word submit a lot. What does submission
That's
mean
good.
to you?
You're right.
Yeah, like what does that mean? You know, it could mean a billion things to a billion different people.
I'm glad you brought that up though, because the other day I think we were driving to Orlando, or we were driving somewhere, and I'm like, I wish they would change the word like submit. Or I was talking to somebody about that. Like,
that was me.
Yeah, I was like, let's not use that word anymore. But I'm like, there's nothing wrong with the word. The thing that's wrong with it is what people have made it to be. So submission to me is just like, I wish you would have asked me this earlier, so I would have thought about it more. But what I think of when I submit to my husband is like, his thoughts and his opinions are important to me. And it's sometimes, if he says no on something and I want to do it, but if he's like, I really don't think we should do this, I'm going to submit to your leadership. Like, I trust you as my leader in this household and in our marriage that, like, in a way, you have the final say. Even though I know you give me the final say a lot, I know that if, like, I say I want to do something and Jonathan for real is like, I'm not going to lie, I really don't think that's a good idea. And after he gives me his PowerPoint presentation, I'm like, all right, I trust you. Submission to me is like, I trust your leadership and I'm going to roll with what you got going on. That's what it means for me.
Did you always feel that way about the topic of submission?
Yeah, it never really. I'm like the kind of person where I feel like everything's not such a big deal. Like, I've always heard people being like, I'm not submitting, I'm blah, blah. I'm like, I don't. Sure. Maybe it's because of my upbringing. Even though I do think my mom was like, she was a little dominant. And I do think I have a lot of that in me too.
Just a little bit. That's okay.
Have a lot of that in me too. But I also saw how my parents worked together. So my mom was in submission to my dad, but it never looked like slavery. So I never thought of submission as slavery because that's not what I was shown.
So you think you had like a basically a healthy model of it, so it wasn't, something that you were afraid of?
Yeah, like it just looked healthy to me. Now I've seen some people close to me who are there like, I seen my mom or grandma or whatever just wait on my dad and like he didn't appreciate her. Like, I will never be that way. I can get how they would be like, submission is not for me because maybe they didn't have the best example. I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but I can see how some people would be like, I would never do that. But you don't have to do it that way, and your husband shouldn't be treating you as a doormat as you submit to him. You know? Yeah.
No, I agree 100%. I think the topic of submission is really hard when you're following someone that is unworthy of your submission. Submissive. Oh yeah, that's better for lack of a better term. When you're with somebody that's doesn't love you like the way you're supposed to be loved, then that's where it gets sticky.
Yeah.
And I think it's just taken so out of context by so many churches, by so many people, by so many men, especially. That's why I love to kind of talk about the men aspect of like what we are supposed to be to our wives. Mm-hmm. I have my biblio here.
Come on, man of God.
And I knew we were talking about this, and we brought it up organically, but I looked this up in advance. I don't just know where this is off the top of my head. I'm not that saved yet.
Come on, Corinthians.
It's not Corinthians. It's Ephesians. So in Ephesians 5, Paul, when he was writing to the church in Ephesus, he said, further, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. So like the first thing it says is that like we're supposed to submit to one another. Right. Like people usually just skip down and just go. That
part always gets left out.
Every single time.
Most people don't know that part.
No, they don't even know it exists. Yeah. And it happens like literally right before.
Yep.
And then right after that, it says, for wives, this means to submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of his wife, as Christ is the head of the church. And then he is the savior of his body, the church. As the church submits to Christ, so you wives should submit to your husbands in everything. Right? And that's usually the part that like people take the excerpt from. That was really bad.
It's okay.
Take the excerpt from. But then after that, and I just want to talk about my job as a husband rather than telling her job as a wife. For husbands, this means that you love your wives as Christ loved the church, and he gave his life up for her to make her holy and clean, washed by the cleansing of God's word. In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as they love their own bodies. For a man who loves his wife actually shows his love for himself. It says, husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church and died for her. So it's like, for me, as my job as the husband is to be the servant leader, right? So what that means is that as Jess is submitting to me and is, putting herself under male headship, my job to her is to love her so much, love her sacrificially enough that I'm like a servant leader, that my job is to always make sure that she's being exalted and lifted up. That if I'm making sure that she's exalted and lifted up, then she never feels as less than. She feels like she's an equal partner because she is an equal partner in this with me. But so many men use it to take advantage of women, which makes the woman's job harder and throws everything else out of equilibrium and balance.
Yeah. And when you are with your example, like the more that you lift me up, the more I want to lift you up. Not that it's a competition, like, oh, my husband's, he's doing more, I need to do more too. But it's like the more that Jonathan loves on me, the more I want to love on him. So it's like we're always just edifying each other, But that's not to say that if Jonathan starts slacking, that's my green card to start slacking too. It's like, well, it's funny. I remember the other night, I was really annoyed with you because we were talking about something, and you were upstairs already, and Jonathan brings this water bottle up every night. This is mine, by the way, but he took it from me. Anyway, it's fine.
I didn't.
He took it.
I didn't take it. She just doesn't want it
He
anymore
took it.
because
he took it.
Because I had to pee in it. I was stuck in a parking garage, and the bottle was the only thing there. Obviously, I've cleaned it out. I cleaned it out multiple times, but after that, Jess didn't.
I was like, that's yours now.
But it's like I had to go.
That's fine, but it's yours. Like,
all right, continue.
I'm never drinking out of that again. Anyway, so anyways, I was really annoyed with Jonathan one night. He went upstairs, and I saw his water bottle on the counter. He always brings it up every night, and it was empty. And at first, I was like, that is not my problem. I'm going upstairs. I had my water bottle full of water, ready to go upstairs. But I was like, you know what? Be a nice girl. So I filled up your water bottle and I brought it upstairs anyways, even though I wasn't happy with you.
How kind.
Come on, submission, baby.
She's just so kind. And we're listening over the course of a year to this one book by Tim Keller, and in the late Tim Keller, and in the book it was basically talking about how each spouse, like in their role of of submission to one another, like they get to play the Jesus role, right? So it's like none of us should feel bad in it, like men get to play the Jesus role on the fact that Jesus was that servant leader. Like on the last day of his life, he got down and washed feet, right. Like in every aspect of his life, he was serving those who should have been serving him. But that's how, leadership works in God's kingdom. If you're worthy of being a leader, then you can't be too good to serve, right? And women in marriage get to play the Jesus role, in that Jesus puts himself under God the Father's submission, right? So that Jesus does what the Father commands him to do, for lack of a better sense, and because that the Father exalts him. So it's like we're both getting to be Jesus in our relationship, and I just thought that was such a beautiful illustration of why no one needs to feel less than, no one needs to be put down. I guess it's really hard if you're in a marriage or a situation or like in a relationship even, where you're the person that's trying to live sacrificially and the other person is not. Yeah. So I guess my next question for you is, what is your advice to those people who are in a situation, your channel is mostly women, so if they're in a situation with a man where they're trying to, be submissive or live sacrificially, I guess is a more PC term, but it is submission.
Sacrificially sounds kind of rough too.
I mean, it is what die to self. You gotta die to self.
Yeah.
But what's your advice to a woman in that situation?
So, something about me, I'm not like, I feel okay giving dating advice, because it's like, okay, we've been there, we graduated, we're married now, but I never feel really comfortable giving like marriage advice. And that's not exactly what you're asking, but I just want y'all to know, like, I'm not here to give any marriage advice. We still fresh out here. It's like our third day out here.
But give what you have 1 year under.
Yes.
Newlyweds can benefit.
Yes.
And engage people and single people.
Yes.
Don't discount your witness.
Hallelujah. So what I will say is, I want to give a little bit of grace to the men who this is what they saw growing up. That's all that they know, especially them island men. Not all I know is island men, but I don't know what the other men do. But I know that the island men, some of them are really just like, I make the money, you cook, clean, everything, blah, blah, blah. So some of that is cultural, So yeah. I want to give a little bit of grace there. But I do want to say, if you are not married yet, this is your time to talk about those things and like pre-marriage counseling, please. Like, because that's where things like that get brought up. Sometimes women are, I don't want to generalize anyone, but sometimes people are afraid. This is our first one. I can't go in too hard. We dig in later.
Go harder. Go in.
Sometimes people are afraid to bring up things because when they're afraid to start an argument, or it's like, oh, what if he leaves? But if you already feel that way, that's a red flag. Oh, we don't have our flag. We gotta get our flag.
We gotta get a flag.
That's a red flag. But
you gotta have a yellow flag and a red flag.
Yeah, beige flag.
I did not know what that meant at all.
It's very new. It's a millennial. I think it's a millennial.
It's probably Gen Z.
TikTok term. Oh yeah, Gen Z. That's after us. Wait, are you Gen Z or a millennial?
I'm the beginning of Gen Z, baby.
You're Gen Z?
Gen Z starts in 97, I think.
Oh, gosh, you're so young.
Born in 97.
For those of you who don't know, I am older than my husband, which also plays a part in my submission, but we'll get there in a second. So, I just feel like it's worth a conversation. I really feel like it's good to know. Even if you're already married, it's like marriage is equal partnership. Like my husband and I, like I am... I'm not a stay-at-home wife. I almost said I'm a stay-at-home wife. I'm a work-from-home wife. So I am home, and so I do feel like it is my responsibility to take care of majority of the house things. One thing I don't really budge on too much is taking out the trash or cutting the grass.
She don't do that.
I don't take out the trash. Sometimes I could, but I'm like in my head I'm like.
I was gonna ask about gender roles. I was gonna ask about gender roles in a second.
Okay.
So don't go too deep.
All right. So we'll save that in a second. But so I do feel like, well then, dang. That's,
what's your advice?
What was the question again?
No, what's your advice to people who are in a relationship with someone that doesn't?
They don't have the submission down packed. The equal.
Well, the men that aren't. To women who are with men either dating or married that aren't servant leaders.
Okay, so if you're dating, I feel like it's worth a conversation and just see if the patterns change. Because if you're dating, let me tell you guys this, because I feel like a lot of people who are dating don't realize that it's not too late. You can leave. You don't have to stay with this person forever.
Then leave.
Okay? Like, you know what we talking about, then leave. Like, trust me, you do not want to get married to someone who's going to treat you like submission equals slavery. And also, like I said, we give grace to the guys who don't know any better. But once you know better, you do better. So like, if you're having that conversation, you got to let him know like, hey, this is what I would like it to look like. Or show him that verse. Submit to each other. And if you can't follow that, I don't know if I would recommend you moving forward with that because it's going to be a battle forever. Married folk, I just suggest counseling, because for a man who's never submit to his wife either before, who thinks that's like Batiman things or something, like I don't know. I don't know. You might need to go seek counseling, because it's not overnight where you're gonna be like, how do you even bring that up? Like, well, baby, you know you could wash dishes too.
No. I mean, well, I feel like the person has to be they have to be receptive to hearing, but I mean someone that's not receptive to hearing. Like, say maybe they're not with, you know, someone that even like believes in God, or you know, like how why'd you make that face?
Look, all I can say is prayer and counseling. Prayer.
I don't want counseling.
Well, then I gotta pray for my husband, because when you're married, you're
once you locked in,
ain't no switching up. Like, you're in there. So I just gotta pray for you.
Yeah, I think.
And lead by example. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that's it right there.
Yeah, lead by example. Kindness.
Go for it.
Jonathan always tells me this thing when we were talking about this one couple. It's like, if the other person is being hard, you just continue to be kind. Kindness, you can't, after a while, you can't be mean to kindness. Like, you can't be negative towards kindness. Like, it's gonna break the other person in the best way. Just keep being kind. Even when he's upsetting you bring him that water bottle. You show him what submission is. Because like I said, when Jonathan lifts me up, it makes me want to lift him up even more. So like, you're lifting up your husband, you're being kind, blah, 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 all the nice things. Hopefully, I don't know. Like, I don't have experience in that place where I have a husband who just is not going to submit and is just thinks that I am the maid. But hopefully that would soften him up to be like, you know what? She did this for me today. I'm going to go ahead and do this for her. And then that'll naturally push them into like an equal submit to each other type of partnership.
Yeah, I mean, sacrificial love, you know, you see it with, you know, like the MLKs, you see it with the Gandhis, even though he didn't like black people. You see it with the, you see it with Jesus that when you're sacrificially loving somebody, even when they're being mean to you, it does something in general, unless the person's evil, and this person loves you, like that does something to kind of change the way you think. Because kind of like you said, it's so hard to be mean to someone who is being kind to you. So
that's my issue with you. You're so nice to me. And I used to be really mean, but he got me. He's so kind.
But I think it's not always easy to be kind either. It's deciding that if I can be, kind in the face of when I feel upset, or independent of how I'm feeling, or independent of how the other person is feeling, then that usually melts like their heart, the hardness that they have in their heart.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best we can do, and pray, and 100% pray for them. When you're in a situation in a marriage, I feel like can you Zoom?
Yes.
In a marriage, when someone is not on the same page, if you are dating, and even for the men, then leave. Even for the men too, like if you're with a woman that says, I don't gotta listen to you, I'm my own woman, I can do the dip. Is that, hey, different people grew up with different things. Maybe that's what you grew up liking and seeing. But if you want like a balanced, equal kind of marriage and relationship that's stable, find someone that's willing to, kind of work in that equal partnership. Yeah. Where someone's serving, leading, someone's submitting, but also being exalted. And that way it's like up and up and up. Like it's like a wheel that's spinning up. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's fine. No, I feel you. What did you want to say about gender roles?
I was going to ask you, do you think, and I guess this kind of goes in with, differences with men and women. Do you think that there are certain things that men should do and certain things that women should do?
Y'all don't be mad at me, but see, and this is...
And is it a preference thing, or there's some things like that's law? Wait, I mean,
this is just my opinion,
it's okay.
Obviously.
It's your opinion, but like, is it like this should be for everybody?
Yeah.
It should be for everybody.
I'm going to give you my opinion on what the law should be. I don't think a woman, if the man is present, should be taking out no garbage.
What's wrong with the garbage?
No, I just feel like that
I take out the garbage, but what?
Yeah, you do. I know.
What's What's?
I just feel like I don't have a rhyme or reason. I mean, maybe I could. It's not
a woman's work?
No, that's just like the man's job. I feel like the man should be taking out the garbage. I don't feel like a woman should ever touch garbage. Like, why is a woman touching garbage? We're not doing that. I'll let it slide on pumping gas. Actually, no, I'm sorry. If the man is in the car, he need to get out and pump the gas. Like, I do cringe a little bit when I'm at the gas station, which isn't very often because besides this morning, because I did have to get gas this morning. I don't remember the last time I got my own gas. But anyway, if I go at the gas station and I see a man in the passenger seat, he on his phone, the girl's pumping the gas.
She's independent.
That's stinky to me. I don't like that. If you want to, if it's your choice, fine. But if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he didn't offer again. It's like,
It's giving a yellow flag?
Ooh,
red flag?
Stinky. I mean,
what flag you throwing on it?
It's not red. I'm going to give it, is it beige or is it yellow? Are we using beige or yellow? I don't know if there could be a beige and a yellow.
You said a beige flag is something that's weird.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. No, that's not weird. That's just kind of almost like, that's a yellow flag.
Yellow flag is a warning.
Warning. Yellow flag.
Yellow flag's a warning. Yeah. And a red flag is get out.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, if he's sitting in the passenger seat and he's not offering to pump the gas when you get there, it's yellow. That's so yellow to me. But those are the only two things. Oh, and cutting the grass. I'm not cutting no grass. I'm telling you that right now.
Would you garden?
Yes. I'll pull some weeds after you cut the grass.
What's the difference between gardening and cutting the grass?
Bro, I'm not about to like I'm not doing it, bro. Like if I cut the grass, I feel like I just grew a pear. And I'm gonna come inside and I'm gonna slap you on the butt and I'm gonna call you Betty because like now you're my wife. If I take out the garbage,
do I slap you on the butt and call you Betty?
Yeah, no, you could if you wanted to. If I cut the grass, pump my own gas, and take out the garbage in one day, I'm flipping you around, and I'm from behind.
Oh Lord.
I'm the man. That's it. But you know what's horrible? I don't have anything that I feel like a man shouldn't do.
A man should not do.
I mean, you should not breastfeed. Like,
That's what I'm asking. Like, there's nothing that woman should do. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Or a man should.
Let's see. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I know it's wrong. Yeah, this is just me right now. But I don't feel like it looks weird for a man to cook or a man to fold clothes or like clean the bathroom or sweep the floor. But I feel like it looks weird for a woman to cut the grass. I'm saying if a man is present, if you live on your own, do your thing. Since I lived on my own, I took out my own garbage. I pumped my own gas for years. I never had a yard on my own, but if I did, I would cut my own. Actually, I'd probably hire somebody, but whatever. But I don't think it's weird for a man to do any of the women gender role type jobs. Is that wrong? Yes. My hair look okay?
Oh, it looks fine. Looks good. Looks great. It's amazing. Don't ask me questions like that.
What are we talking about?
I don't remember the last one.
I was asking if I was wrong for feeling that way.
No. I mean, how you feel is how you feel.
What do you think? I'm not about to get all the heat. What do you think?
I don't think there's any job that has to be a man or has to be a woman's job.
Is that what you saw growing up? Did your mom and dad both do everything or whatever?
Yeah, I guess that is my context.
Mm-hmm.
Dad cooked. My dad did yard work. He did I don't know, gardening. He did I don't know. He did everything. He did everything. So it's like, yeah. I don't know, like I can't think of any job that's too.
Is there anything you realize your mom did not do?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
She was taking out the garbage?
My mom will take out the garbage.
Hold on. Your mom lived with 3 men and y'all let her take out the garbage?
I don't know if, I feel like I've seen her take out the garbage. She doesn't take out the garbage all the time.
You saw her taking out the garbage and you didn't say, Mom, I'll get that?
I don't remember the circumstances.
Where's my yellow flag?
I don't remember the circumstances,
it's yellow.
But I feel like I've seen my mother take out the garbage.
It's yellow. I would prefer you say, oh, I heard that she did. But the fact that you saw her taking... Yes.
I heard that she did.
You weren't there. You weren't there to do anything about it.
What does it mean that I heard that she did?
Someone told you, like, damn, I saw your mom taking out the garbage. They could be like, oh my gosh, I wish I was there.
I heard that she did.
But the fact that you saw her doing it and you didn't say, Mom, let me get that, makes me... My sons...
No, I didn't hear that she did.
I will be.
But I just feel like I've seen it before. Not that it happens all the time or.
Are you shocked? Sorry, you were like this for a while. I'm like,
no, I'm not shocked. I'm looking at the thing to make sure I'm not overdriving it.
Okay, you're fine.
Yeah, I just didn't see anything that was like, women absolutely have to do this. Men absolutely cannot do this.
Yeah, and that's fine. But that goes to show like, upbringing has a lot to do with how people think. So sometimes I can't. Not that I can't be mad at some men who think that like, oh, it's a woman's job to blah, 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 because like after a while you get your own mind, you do your own research, but that's how just some people grew up. And a lot of things that you grow up seeing, you think that that's normal because you don't know anything else. Yeah.
And I think it's okay. I think it's okay to have, preferences of things that like Jess has her preferences, like she just said, of things that she does want to do or doesn't want to do. But make sure like when you're dating, you look at, you look for what the person is willing to do and not willing to do and have those conversations. Mm-hmm. Because it might sound like a small thing now, but if in your head, as a woman, men always are supposed to take out the trash or always supposed to, I don't know, do laundry. Something silly, mm-hmm. And you're with a man that in his house, it wasn't done that way, or a woman did, or a white mom did that thing, then it's going to be a source of, butting heads unless you're willing to, unless you're willing to compromise those things. I almost said die to self again, but I think I got to stop saying that. But
it's fine.
Yeah, unless both parties are malleable or willing to be, say, you know what, I'm used to it this way, but I'm walking into a new thing, mm-hmm. and I'll change it.
Yeah. I do have a question for you though. I don't know if this goes under submission, but like the fact that I do work from home, do you have certain expectations of me that things I need to, don't smile, certain expectations of me that the things that should be done either by the time you get home or by the end of the week?
Yes. However, it's because I think right before around the time we were getting married, did you say I promised to be like run the home in your vows?
I promise to be the keeper of your home and the keeper of your heart.
All
silly,
right.
silly girl.
All right.
Silly girl.
In the vows you made
I was so young
to God,
last year.
to God, you said that you're gonna be the keeper. So I'm holding you to the standard that you set out for yourself.
So that one-liner in the vow, that's what got me in this position that I'm in today.
Absolutely.
Is there a way to like
No.
renegotiate the contract?
No.
No, it's locked in. There's no switching up.
Once you're locked in, ain't no switching up. But I mean, I think part of it is not even just because of the vows, and I think that's one of the main things that can be hard, especially for stay-at-home moms, I imagine, is that a lot of, people, even men, I think even the roles were reversed, and it's like a stay-at-home man, and it's like, well, you were at home all day.
Yeah. But see, we have to...
I know, but you're working, so that's all
there's
different.
a stay-at-home and there's a work-from-home.
And it's just so funny, though. Like, I remember when we first got married, I don't really care as much now. Because I have a lot more time off now than when we first got married.
Mm-hmm.
But when you would say, it's like, yeah, I didn't do anything today. I fell asleep like 3 times. I remember one time, one time you took like a month off, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
And then it's like, when you're working hard, I don't really care if things are out of place. It's like, man, she's working hard, providing. But it's like, you ain't do nothing.
I really was chilling.
How is this place a mess?
I was chilling.
How? I don't understand. I have to do my job, do yours.
I was chilling hard. Thank you for the grace.
Yeah, no, but it's like, it's understanding like it's not so easy. And I think, getting to be at home for some days, like the past couple months, it's like made me realize that it really isn't that, isn't that easy.
It's really easy to slack off.
Oh yeah.
Like what,
easy.
last week we'd slept like
just not do it
for like 4 hours, and then we like watched TV, and I'm like, it's hard. I mean,
it's very easy to not do it.
It's easy to shout out to all the work from home and stay at home moms, because
you have a hard job.
Your job is hard.
I can't I'm imagining all the stuff Jess has to do to like manage the home or run the home, and we don't have any children.
I'm scared, child.
That job sounds so hard. So props to you stay-at-home moms. Like,
yeah,
kudos to you.
Big clap up for you.
Yeah, you get round of applause.
Yeah. So, switching gears a little bit, something that I have been asked before is, and this may tie into submission for some people. For me, I did have to rework my brain a little bit too. For anyone who's new here, I am older than my husband by 5 years. He's 26, I'm 31. So some people were asking me, what is it like? Like, how do you manage being married to someone who is younger? And I do also feel like sometimes in my head, not so much now, because honestly, those of you who know us and have seen Jonathan in action, he's very wise. But sometimes in my head, I'm like, man, I'm older than you, man. I've lived more life. Listen to me. And not that it plays a huge role in my submission, but sometimes I'm just like, man, this kid don't know what he's talking about. Listen to me.
Jess.
Obey your elders.
Jess. Obey your elders is nuts. That's nuts.
I got hot. Oh, Lord have mercy. Did you turn the AC down? Or up?
I did. I can make it colder.
Yeah, I'm a little warm. It's warm in this room.
You're wearing a jacket.
But that too. I am wearing a knitted sweater. But I feel like when it comes to gender roles or age or wage, any of those things, I still think at the end of the day, it's like the husband and the wife, as long as you guys are really aiming to please each other, I feel like that's when submission comes so much easier. Let's be real though, like it is not easy. And it doesn't mean also that like whatever Jonathan says, I'm just like,
I'm sorry, no, I'm just breathing.
I thought he was about to yawn. I'm like, not me boring you. No, I'm just kidding. But it doesn't also mean that whatever Jonathan says, I'm like, yes, master, I agree. Like, we do have discussions and rebuttals sometimes. There are times, especially when we're doing our budget, where I'm like, I don't know if I like this. But he'll hear me out. And then we'll talk about it. And then sometimes he'll, I don't know, saying you submit to me just, it sounds so weird because it just doesn't sound biblical, even though it is. But like, whatever. Sometimes he'll submit to my thoughts, and sometimes sometimes. I think it's pretty even. But
I think in
I lost my train of thought. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I'm sorry. I think in finances, that's the area I was probably most worried before getting married, because there was a period of time, especially when we were planning for the wedding, that at that time I was in school, and so I wasn't making any money. I had zero. I was bringing zero to the table, but debt. I brought debt to the table.
Yeah.
And a few measly stocks.
I love you.
No, I had some stocks. I had something. No, but I had debt. I had mostly debt.
Yeah, and I went in with zero. I had paid up all my debt. Wow, what a queen.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have consumer debt. I wasn't crazy. I just had school debt.
Yeah.
But there was a time when we were planning our wedding that I think I'm the more financially geared person in our relationship. I think Jess would agree with that. Do you agree?
What do you mean by that?
Like, I think about the financials and like saving and investing.
See,
not that you didn't do that stuff, but I feel like the intricacies of it.
I think about it, but I think about it way differently than you do, because I know how to save, and you know that, but we just think about it very different. But go ahead.
That's fair. So there were certain aspects of things for the wedding where, say it's flowers, for example. Like, well, flowers cost, I'm just gonna throw a number.
Ridiculous.
Say the flowers cost $6,000.
I wish. Sorry, go ahead.
I didn't want to tell on you, but
they know. The brides know what's up.
Okay,
yeah.
So I was like, I don't think like blowing a certain amount of money on flowers is a wise idea. Like, I just don't think it's wise. I feel like I'm all in for spending money on things that people will remember. People will remember, like pictures, videos, like expanded guest lists, like, all that stuff is like, I'll spend money on that stuff, but on stuff like flowers or decorations, like I was a little less, whatever. But I felt like her response at that time was like, well, I made this money. Don't tell me what to do with my money.
Ooh, that was red flaggy. Was that red flag to you?
It was making me a little nervous. It was making me a little nervous because I knew that even though I'm gonna make like solid money, once I started working, which I do make, solid money now, but like I knew Jess would, was making more, in YouTube and being an influencer. So I was just fearful that it'd be like, well, like I'd say something like, I think this is what we should do. And she'd be like, well, I make more money than you, broke boy. Broke little boy. Little baby broke boy. No money, boy.
Lord,
so I was just like, I was a little scared, that, that's something that would be a thing that would come up. But it hasn't really. I think, Jess has done a really good job of, I guess, learning to trust me, even when she doesn't want to. And I think she could tell you, she's right here. I think she's seen the benefit of some of the ways that like I was looking at it. I look at it now.
Yeah, I will say back then, like when we were engaged, what a cute time that was. Sorry, I don't want to burp in the mic, but when it came to our wedding, honestly, if we were to do it over again, I might still do it the same way. I'm not even gonna lie. But when it came to our wedding, I do remember him saying like, oh, I don't really know if we should blah, blah, blah. And I'm not gonna lie, my mindset at the time really was like, don't tell me what to do with my money. We weren't married yet. And that was the last time I was gonna be able to say things like that. I had to get it off my chest. I was like, we not married yet. I remember I was talking to my mama and she was like, don't do that because he's gonna make it. She would, my mom, shout out to my mom because she
give you perspective.
Yeah, she was like, don't say that because he's gonna feel like you're always gonna be that way. And I was just like, Mom, this is my money. I can do if I want to spend on the flowers, what does it have to do with him? I will admit that is how I felt during the wedding. But I was like, bro, we not married yet. I kept saying that to like my mom or like to like my friend Lisa. I'm like, we not married yet. He can't tell me what to do with my money yet. And I'm so glad you still married me with that thought process, because that is one of those things that we would tell you
she
to
was
run
a
away
maverick.
from.
It was. I would, in general, advise saying to run away from that. But she had Jess had so many green flags in so many other areas that like I wasn't. I mean, I was concerned.
It was a maroon
and I was
flag.
worried. No, it was red. It was yellowy.
Blood orange.
It was orange.
Blood orange.
It was orange. It wasn't red, but because you would still talk to me. You still talk to me and reason with me, even though you would spend money on things without telling me that you were doing it. But
You was my husband. You my man.
don't do that, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't.
Don't be like me.
Yeah, but I mean, and even though like it worked out for us, I think it's just really important to kind of. That's why we like stress pre-marriage, pre-engagement counseling.
Yeah.
Well, pre-marriage for sure. Pre-engagement, I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where you can talk about all these things, how you view money, how you feel about these things. For me, I like to save more, like especially in advance, than the average bear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jess, in her normal state, would save as much as the average bear, maybe a little bit more.
I don't agree.
I well, I definitely want to say, I definitely care about saving more. And I think,
yes, that's
and
true.
saving in like a myriad of different ways. So it's like saving for, retirement, but also saving for, like a purchase. Like, for example, we save for Christmas payments. Like, like in the middle, like in the beginning, throughout the year. That way, when it's Christmas time, we don't have to be like, oh my gosh, it's Christmas. How are we going to pay for it? It's like we just take out the money that we have for Christmas. We save for vacation, even when there's no vacation coming, and stuff like that, But if you're not with somebody that views it that way or is willing to see it viewed that way, you're going to argue a lot.
Yeah.
You're going to bump heads. You're going to bump heads a lot. So, looking that out is really important. Talking out those things that could be sticking points. I feel like marriage is hard enough as it is. You might just want to be on the same page with all that stuff before it starts. Before you make all these promises, like, oh, I promise to be the keeper of your house. I promise to love you in good times and in bad. And you might want to know what you're signing up for before you do it. You know what I'm saying?
Remember when I was like, I feel like the vows, like the basic vows, should be rewritten.
Why?
Because when they're like, in good times and in bad, I'm like, wait, what bad are we talking about? Like, can we expand? Because it's like,
till death do you part.
Jonathan says that a lot. He's like, till death. I'm like, okay, but if you start acting up, who's dying?
You're not getting rid of me. You're not getting rid of me. You can't get rid of me.
That's fine. I feel like we do say those vows just like, because we're in a high, and then bad times come. People are like, all right, I'm gonna head out.
It's like, yeah, I don't feel that way anymore. Who said anything about how you feel?
I mean, and I'm not making fun of anybody because we haven't reached anything yet. But I can't lie if I've never felt like.
Maybe we should stop, talking so boisterous.
Yeah,
we're
not there yet.
I'm sure tough times will come, but
of course, and then they're
gonna come.
We'll talk about tough times when we get to more tough times. But we've been blessed so far. I mean, like I said, it's only been a year, but we've been blessed. We had a pretty good year so far.
Well, life's been good.
A year and change. Do you have any last thoughts on submission? How am I doing? Can you rate me on a scale of 1 to 10 on my submissiveness or my submission? How I'm doing?
I think you're doing good.
Nah, 1 through 10.
I think you're doing like a 9.
9?
8 or 9.
8 or 9? 8? How I lost the 2 points?
8 is good.
But where I lost the 2 points at?
I mean, you're doing great.
Where them 2 points left off
8
at?
is great. I mean, you got room for improvement.
Dang.
Everyone got room for improvement.
I'm not like a 9.7? Why I be bowing down? I be washing his feet and drying it with my hair. Like the alabaster box.
Wait, what does that have to do with the alabaster box?
It's the song.
Tell me about the song.
By CeCe Winans. From Mary's alabaster box. Don't be angry if I wash his feet with my tears and I dry them with my hair.
Don't she sing so good, y'all? I just want her to sing. That's the log out? That's the log out?
Thank you guys for listening to our viewpoints on submission. Submission is not slavery, okay, ladies? So if you're feeling slaved or pushed around, I think if you're dating, it's definitely a great topic to bring up. If you're married, bring it up. Let's be equal. What was the verse, babe?
Ephesians 5 something.
Well, I will leave it in the description box if you need for that to be your devotion with your man, or write it on the mirror or something. Because most men really don't know. They just don't know. So I think it'll be a great, reminder for some people. We love you guys. We're praying for you guys. And we'll see you in our next video.
See you. Bye.
Bye.